Welcome to another episode of the Financial Armor Show. My name is Jose Rodriguez, investment advisor here at Cooper Financial, and your host for today, alongside my co-host, Jaclyn Gladhill. How you doing?
I am fantastic. I have so much energy just talking to you. And it's funny because, we just laugh before the show. We are just goofing off, making jokes. And then as soon as I hit record, Jose is serious. You're like on board. I got this. I can do this. And, that's where I come in. We have a good time. It's Monday when we're recording this, and it's Happy New Year to our listeners and viewers. It's going to be a great 2026. And I think, this is a great year or a great time to talk about retiring. And if you want
hmm
to retire early, what does that mean for you?
Yep.
So, this is a great topic today. Jose, where do you want to start?
Well, I want to address what you said earlier because I do, I do, I. Well, that's why you're here. You're here to lighten me up, right? It's not
Okay, good.
always very serious things, which I tend to do, which is good.
Yeah.
But it is the new year. It is our first podcast of the year,
Mhm.
at least that we're recording in the year. So, uh, it's kind of like that first Monday, of the year after being off for the holidays. By the way, I went to go visit my family. In Mexico. I was there for about 11 days,
Wow.
which was really fun. I enjoyed my favorite time, um, to my leisure time is to spend time with family,
Yes.
and thankfully I have a large family, that I a lot of cousins, so we just and they're all similar age, so we all get to
Wow.
hang out. We did this really fun game that it's a VR virtual reality,
Yes.
and then your job is to uh, decipher a bomb, essentially, to make sure it doesn't blow up, right, in 5 minutes.
Wow. Okay.
And what's funny about that, and I've talked about this on the podcast in the past, is that my I come from a family of all engineers. Okay.
Oh,
So that's why I guess I'm all serious all the time and think about
smart.
numbers
Smart.
and and it's just like always trying to say, well, actually that is you have to carry the zero, those things.
Technically.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. And it was just really funny because people make fun of me about that. And while I was playing the game of deciphering this bomb, which is a really hard, mental
Mhm.
deciphering puzzle game. It's a puzzle game.
Yes.
And I'm just looking around the room, for a second, just reflecting of what I'm doing right now. And there's a room of 9 engineers in one room trying to decipher a bomb. And well, actually, I'm the
Wow.
only one that's not an engineer,
Yep.
technically. And it was just I just thought of everyone in the office, everyone over at Gradient, Minnesota, because they all make fun of me about that too, just because I'm annoying about it sometimes. I ask a lot of questions, but it's really good for our clients because I'm very numbers oriented and detail
Mhm.
oriented. But some clients don't like that too, and that's fine. But
Yeah.
I do warn some of our newer clients, hey, I'm a pretty numbers guy. You know, if you want me to,
Economically
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
driven
If
for
you want me to
sure.
dial it back, please let me know because sometimes it's too much. But
Well,
yeah,
and I do have to say, I mean, you don't look very tan to me. So somehow you missed the sun or something while you were there,
yes,
because I would expect you to be tanner.
yeah. Well, it was really hot actually, and I
Okay.
did go to the beach once, and it
Okay.
was overcast. It was overcast.
Oh.
But it was so hot, it was ridiculous. It was 80 degrees. I'm from the Pacific Ocean,
Yep.
where Cabos is, Los
Okay.
Cabos, but inland into
Yep.
the actual, yeah. And, and it was 80 degrees every day,
Okay.
with a lot of humidity. So it was,
Okay.
really, if it was 80, but it felt like 90 kind of deal.
So,
And
what's
yeah.
the difference between that and the weather in Arizona right now?
Oh, 80 degrees is nice here. 90
Yeah.
degrees is nice because there's no humidity.
Mhm.
Um, so over there, if you're just walking out of the shower and well, you go into the shower wet, right? You get out of
Okay.
the shower wet, you dry off, you get out of the bathroom and now you're wet again.
Oh,
Because
jeez.
that's kind of the feeling. And usually it doesn't happen during the winter. That's why I love going to the winter and not in the summer. But
Yeah.
it's almost like there was no winter.
Wow. So the towel to dry you off is already pre-wet, is what you're
Yeah.
telling me.
Yes, yes, it is.
Oh, well, that's
Yeah.
amazing. I mean, that sounds like a great trip for you and, very mentally stimulating for sure.
I wasn't planning on that, but that is what happened. So I just thought I wanted to bring that up on the podcast. But did you do anything fun for Christmas, any or New Year's?
I honestly didn't. You're not gonna be very happy with me with that answer, but this was, we got home, so we took a cruise the second week of December. And when we got home from that cruise, my fiance and I both got really sick. We got the
Mm,
flu that's going around, and
mm-hmm,
I'm sure you're hearing all about it if
mm-hmm,
maybe you got it, but it's
mm-hmm,
crazy and it hits hard. So I think that knocked us out for 5 days, and then we were finally able to recover by Christmas.
mm-hmm.
And then it just felt like it went by so fast
Yeah.
because we didn't really have time to prepare, right? We were on a cruise, we got home, we were sick, and then boom, it was Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
So, it was a good year. It was our one and only year of being engaged for
Yeah.
Christmas. So next
Not
year we will
anymore.
yeah, we will be married
Well,
next
you would be
year.
a married person.
Yes, yes, yeah. So this is my last Christmas as a Miss versus Mrs.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But
Very
yeah,
nice.
it was good, and I'm excited for this year, right? There's lots of things. So what are some New Year's resolutions that you have?
Oh gosh. My New Year's resolutions, unfortunately, super cliche,
Okay,
and it's the weight loss thing. I'm 205 pounds.
okay.
I used to be 190 pounds. So
Okay, you can do
trying
that.
to lose the 15-pound weight uh, by the summer
Okay.
and buying a house.
Yes, I'm with
Um,
you on that one. Can we do that one
well,
together?
yes, we did that one together.
Okay.
And what's interesting is that over my winter
Yep.
vacations, I found the right house. I found the one, and
So, did you make an offer? What's the
that's
update?
happening today.
Ah,
Yeah,
that's so exciting.
yeah.
Wow.
So, and
Okay.
I never thought it would be possible, given
Mhm.
today's market and
Mhm.
everything that's going on, but just and also really close to the office. So,
Wow. I am so happy for you.
thank you.
That's amazing. Okay, so now how does the girlfriend feel about this? Is she
She's
excited?
excited. She's
Okay.
excited. We went to go look at it yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. We went to go look
Okay.
at a couple houses, but I already had the one in my brain ready.
And
So
did
we were
she
just looking at
agree?
other houses just in case, the
Yeah.
that compare.
Yeah,
But
absolutely. You have to do that, especially
yeah.
with house buying. What are you gonna really get for your money? And
Mhm.
it's a one of the biggest decisions that you can make other than marriage, in my opinion,
Mhm.
is what house you're gonna buy
Mhm.
and what you're gonna put down on it. And
Mhm.
I mean, you're the finance guy, I am not, but knowing the down payment versus the interest versus
The closing
everything.
costs and all of
Yes.
that.
Yes. And
That's a good one to have, maybe a realtor and mortgage
mhm.
lenders, because that's a very complex, even for me, it's a complex process.
Yeah.
Um, but that will leave a cliffhanger on that. That's going to be a future podcast
Okay,
because
deal. Then you can give me all the advice that you have
yes.
after
Well,
going
I
through
won't be
it.
giving the advice. I'll find somebody that knows more to give the
Okay. Yeah,
advice.
deal, deal. So
Yes.
I'll live vicariously through you for this month, and then, then you can give me all the updates and the knowledge, and then I'll go
Mhm.
through it. Eventually, hopefully, we can pray about that one about
Uh-huh.
later in the year. Um,
Thank you.
but yeah, this is so exciting. I'm
Yeah.
so happy for you. What a way to kick off
I
your new
know, right?
year.
That is. It's a motivator, um, and definitely very excited about it.
Well, exciting. All right. So enough about us and our guess updates on life. We have lots to talk about. But I am excited about this topic
Mhm,
because, as the new year approaches, a lot of people consider retirement, right? It's
mhm,
the
mhm,
New Year's resolution for when you're
mhm.
around that age. And so, what does that mean? And what does it mean to kind of retire early?
Yep.
What does it mean if you wait longer? And so we're kind of just going to go through the pros and cons of both and which might be right for you.
Yeah, because there's a lot of different pros and cons and things that people may or may not think about. We always talk about different kinds of risks that people don't think about,
Mhm.
and the way that I like to think about of who I am as a financial advisor for somebody, and I use this baseball analogy is when someone throws you a pitch, uh, some people just see a ball coming. I see the stitches on the ball, kind of thing. And that's kind of the analogy there, but it's essentially means that I'm looking at the details of what could happen, every single aspect of the situation. And and it could be a very long podcast, but I wanted to be at a very high level, talk about the pros and cons of what it is, what would life be like, or what the effects would be if you retire early.
Yeah.
My plan personally is to retire earlier than the norm.
Mhm.
I plan to retire at age 55.
Okay.
That's 5 to 10 years earlier than most. Okay.
So, yeah, so I was gonna say, let's just kinda clarify what is typical. A
Hmm.
typical age for retirees is, around that 65 mark,
Hmm.
correct?
Hmm. Yeah.
So, that's just typical. So, when we consider early, we're considering earlier in age than 65, and when we're considering maybe waiting, it's 65 or later.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. It's 65 and 67. The main reason is that because, Social Security doesn't pay its full benefit until 67 ish,
Okay.
around that age. And that's why the majority of the people want to retire around that age or shoot for that, right? For that age. But I plan to retire earlier. So that means 55 for me.
Mhm.
So this is something that I've run through my head as well, and I've also experienced through helping clients that do retire early, helping them retire early. Um, One of the pros and this is why I always preach, and if I could ever make someone retire earlier than they expect, I scream at top of my lungs to do it. And this is the reason why. The earlier you retire, the more flexibility and free time you have in your life.
Mhm.
And
The
that
more
that
time
flex
you have to fill.
Yeah, exactly, exactly,
Mhm.
those are in the con side.
Yes.
But you have more flexibility. You have the choice to do more things, and because you're younger, you can do a lot more, and that's where the flexibility, comes in, and usually when you retire earlier, you don't have those medical
Health.
appointments,
Yes.
yeah, health things that you have to worry about, or not that you don't have to worry about them, but they're not a part of your schedule yet.
Yes.
Because one of the things I've noticed as people get older, 65, 70, 75, is people, their day-to-day lifestyle is, going to doctor's appointments
Mhm.
for whatever it may be. So I was reading a study, and and the study put out a stat that was, it's called the U.S. healthy life expectancy. So it's not necessarily when you're supposed to pass away, but it's essentially when majority of people are healthy and able to do all the physical things, right?
Yeah.
And that age is 63.9. So let's call it 64
Okay.
age, 64 years old. And and the reason, you can think about, if you have all these goals about activities you want to do during retirement. The way I looked at that for me is, okay, if I retire at 60, I have 4 years, statistically speaking, to really enjoy all the physical things that I want to do. For
Yeah.
example, climb whatever mountain you want to climb, go on
Mhm.
this. Um, there's this in Spain, and there's this long hike and
Okay.
long walk. It's not necessarily a hike; it's a walk in Spain. that you do, and it's related to the church, and it's really
Mhm.
fun that I really would want to do, and it's really interesting. But I don't know if I could do that at 65.
Okay, well, I'm not gonna lie, there's a mountain, or I guess I don't know if you wanna call it mountain, that's in Arizona by you, that's
Yeah,
called Camelback Mountain. Camelback hike, whatever you wanna call it.
Camelback Mountain. Yeah.
Yes. I at I'm not gonna give away my age, but I am young. I don't think I could do that. So, I don't know if I could do that when I'm 65 either because I can't even at my age. But besides the point, maybe that's just me not being fit, but we can get there still.
I run up and down that Camelback
No.
Mountain. It's 45 minutes up and down for
I
me.
it's like the toughest it's a black diamond.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
The harder ones are in South Mountain, and those take 7 hours.
Oh. No, thank you. You know, the other thing that I think about is so it's common knowledge, I guess, that what it let me ask you this, Jose. What is the number one sport that retirees play?
Golf.
Yes. Why is that when it's so draining and it's difficult? I mean, you
Mhm.
walk the entire course, and I don't understand how it's the retirement sport when it actually takes so much endurance.
Hmm. I don't know. I think it's low impact.
Okay.
Low
Okay.
impact, just walk in, and
Yep.
yeah, the impact of the golf club, could be harmful,
Yep.
when you're hitting the ball, but I think it's, for the most part, is low impact, and that's why it's good. Um, Even though I just almost broke my hand playing golf the other
Yes,
day.
your shoulder, your back, your knees,
Yeah.
you know, I I can't even get through 9 holes without feeling exhausted, but again, maybe that's just endurance on
Yeah.
my part.
Yeah, well, I think people have the endurance to like, the energy to move, but it's, like, about getting hurt and things like that, right?
True.
And that's why I think, when I'm thinking about my own plan is that, 55 to 64, let's say, and let's say I live a, healthier lifestyle, maybe I can push that 64, healthy life expectancy a little bit
Mhm,
more, but let's just use, to be conservative, the average, the 64. I'm gonna have, you know, 9 years, almost 10
mhm.
years of healthy. I can do anything I really want, and I don't have to limit my trips, my anything, because of my health.
Yes.
God willing, that is the outcome that I would want. Um, and that's always what I preach because no one's guaranteed tomorrow. Anything can happen tomorrow, for the better and for the worse. So I always, the earlier someone can retire, as long as it makes sense, I think it's good.
Mhm.
And Another stat that was in the same article, it's so out of those, so 64% of people say that most of their stress is job related. Okay.
Mhm.
And out of the 46, 77% of that group, that cohort, say it harms their mental health. So I think we've all heard about, how stress can kill.
Yes.
And, if somebody lives a stressful life, have a stressful job,
Mhm,
maybe, the longer you are and longer you're enduring the stress, it
mhm.
could decrease your life expectancy in general.
Absolutely.
So if you want to live a healthier life for longer and actually live longer, retire
Mhm,
early,
mhm,
right? So that's the main reason why I think about my life the way I thought about it. 55 is a good goal to shoot for. Um, but obviously, like even with my clients, I always say, with big goals come big responsibilities,
yes.
big sacrifices, in other words, too. So, so there comes the cons.
Yeah, which, I mean, just from my experience, I feel like this list is a little bit longer.
uh, I think it's about this. Yeah, well, it could be if we had the time, but for today, we're only keeping it very short. But
'Kay.
I think it's the one. It's a scarier one for me,
Yes. Yes.
because unless you have a pension, uh, you might need way more money
Mhm.
to retire early than most people think to retire.
Yeah.
That think that they will need for retirement. Um, that I won't really throw out a number out
Mhm.
because it's really depends on the specific situation.
Yeah.
Um, but obviously, the longer you retire, the earlier you retire, the longer you need to make this money last, right?
And that's because of Social Security. So you kinda touched on it earlier, the Social Security being effective at what age, Jose?
Well, you can take it as early as 62, but
But
the full retirement age is around 67.
yes.
So you can take it
So
from 62 to all the way to 70, but the sweet spot for to get the most money is 67.
yeah. So with you taking it earlier or ending, your working career, right,
Mhm.
earlier, it's a lot of money that you basically have to make up for, in
Yeah.
other words. And
You are.
so you have to figure out different ways and different means that you're going to get that. And, Jose mentioned the pension, which pensions are not as common anymore. And
Mhm.
so if you do have a pension, you are very fortunate. But it's not as common. And so there's a lot of different ways that you can make up for it. It's just kind of times by 3, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, again, it's just a stupid number I threw out there, but, you have to multiply it to make up for it, if
Yeah.
that makes
Yeah.
sense.
You have to inflate the numbers a little bit more because you have more time that you need
Mhm,
to live on this money. And
mhm,
because you don't have a pension and you don't have Social Security yet because you're not old enough,
mhm.
uh, then you need to you're relying 100% on your assets,
Yep.
right? So that means that you need to make your assets larger. So
Mhm,
you have a safety net.
mhm.
Um, but another thing that comes with, retiring early is that because you're not working anymore, your all the risks that I've talked about in this podcast, um, from market risk, taxes, estate planning, all those things, they will. I would say they affect someone's retirement almost double, just because you have more time to mess up,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah.
a market because usually people go through maybe one or two uh, uh, market downturns or recession like event in their retirement life.
Mhm.
But the earlier you retire, the more because every 10 years there's 2008 that kind of event in the market. The earlier you retire, the longer you are retired for, the more you're exposed to having 2, 3, or 4 uh, of those market downturns, and
Mhm.
that could really affect your retirement if you're not set up correctly.
Yes.
Yeah, and so it's way more important to have your investments in line, and I take that even more. If you're conservative, be really even more conservative if you retire earlier. Um, and that's why I think it's very important to have a financial advisor, financial professional, to really look at things and make sure your plan is bulletproof. Because if you retire earlier, your plan needs to be bulletproof because you can't
Correct.
afford to make a mistake.
Yeah, you just don't have time. There's
Yeah,
not there's not time that you can wait for it to turn around.
yeah.
And I mean, we're kind of jumping on to the next one here, Jose, but I do just want to briefly touch on it with the mental load
Hmm.
and the filling of time in retirement. And I think, you're going to have a lot more time on your hands and you need to be able to fill it.
Hmm.
And I mean by hobbies, by family. I mean, from my parents' experience, so my dad's 65 currently,
Hmm.
and he has in his retirement plan or his financial strategy, he's set to retire at 70. Now, I told him we kind of made a ideal per se, that if I have kids before he's 70, would he consider retiring? And he said yes,
Mhm.
because that is something that he will be able to fill his time with and be happy with and, watch the kids grow up or whatever it is, right? And
Mhm.
so you want to time it based on if you have something to look forward to like that, if you have hobbies, if you have
Yeah.
time to fill.
100%. I mean, I think I've brought it up in, here on the podcast, but my mom retired, I mean, technically earlier than most. She's
Yep.
retired at age 60,
Okay.
61, I believe, actually. And, she's been working since she was probably 9 years old,
Yeah.
and never stopped.
Mhm.
And now that she has nothing to do,
Mhm.
she's just like, well, I'm bored. She
Yeah.
lasted maybe 6 months
Yeah.
after retirement. So we started giving things for her to do. She started traveling more.
Mhm.
Took her to Spain this year, last year actually,
Fun.
right? And I talked about it on the podcast. Took her to Spain, getting her introduced because she's a little bit wary about traveling. She doesn't do it so
Mhm.
much.
Mhm.
So getting her comfortable with going to airports and things like that.
Yeah.
Um, you know, I gave her we have a house in Mexico.
Okay.
She remodeled the whole thing, which
Wow.
is really, really fun.
Mhm.
And so visiting, her majority of her family is over there as well. So
Mhm.
visiting family,
Mhm.
um, and she wants a dog now.
Yep.
Thing,
Yes.
movies, shows, books, anything,
And she
right?
bugs you about it because she says, "Have you watched this? Have you read this?" "No, mom, I actually have a job."
Yeah, exactly. Well, she actually wanted to take my dog and have my dog,
Okay.
in her house.
Funny you should say that because my parents think that as soon as I move out, we're gonna have joint custody of my dog, and I'm
Mm,
like, "No, I don't think that that's how it works, because if
mm,
she's my dog, I'm taking her."
yeah,
But they're like, "No, no, no, we want her around."
yeah,
Okay, so it's gonna be a drop off at a gas station, let's switch cars, you know?
yeah. That's gonna be yeah, like divorced parents, yeah.
Yes, that's gonna be a divorced parents of a dog.
Yeah. No, yeah, thankfully, that's too much of a drive and too big of a hike for us to do something like that. But I told her, I think getting a dog is, if you have it, people are retiring early and you don't have a
Mhm,
dog, could be a good thing.
mhm,
Or a cat, things like that.
yeah,
But she travels too, so
mhm.
how is that gonna work, It's so funny. After, now the kids become the parents and they have to tell them, "Well, you have
Yes.
to take care of the dog," You have to take it out, you have to give it food and, all those
Yep,
things, and it's just interesting.
yeah,
But, no, so it definitely is very important to also plan that out.
yeah,
Plan what is your life gonna look like? What do you wanna do?
mhm,
Um,
and
some people do the I've heard just a couple of clients ago, um, he wants to be a gun instructor.
okay, yeah.
That do for
Yeah,
free. I don't know.
and exactly, and that's a great point that you bring up too. A lot of people do get part-time jobs just to, interact with people, just to be
Mhm,
around and have a set schedule. The
mhm,
schedule part, I think, is the hardest part
mhm,
because, you're so used to going to work in the morning, coming home in the evening. You have such a routine that when you end up retiring, that routine's kinda gone. And
mhm,
so getting a part-time job or something, but another thing that came to mind while we're talking about this is, a pro for retiring early, and it's, spending more time with loved ones. And, you do have more time, and if it's maybe your parents are still around, and you want to
mhm,
spend, some more time with them, that would be a pro of retiring early. Or if you have grandkids that are born, and you want to spend time with them while they're kids, there's
mhm,
just
mhm.
there you do have a lot more time, which can be a blessing and a curse, right?
Mhm, mhm, exactly, and the earlier retire, you can, hold your grandkids, and play with them a little more rough
Yes.
and, do those
Yes.
activities.
Absolutely.
That's actually one of my, my godfather, he did that. He retired early, and all his focus was his grandkids.
Mhm.
They're considered my second cousins.
Okay. Yeah.
But, and one of them became, he's the one step below pro in soccer. and the other one is playing also the same thing, but in baseball. So he was there. He was able to be there for
Wow.
them, take him to the baseball games, to the soccer games, and
Yeah.
train. After the days off, go train a little bit.
Mhm.
And he was that motivator. And I think for them, it's something that is going to leave a mark on their childhood.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really good point that I think I would love to do. When I do
Mhm.
retire.
Yeah.
Um, but again, to close off, the biggest con and the reason why this needs to have the biggest focus and emphasis is if you want to retire early, you really have to have your ducks in a row. You
Yes.
have to make sure that your accumulation phase essentially, if you're 30, 40s and 30s and 40s and 50s,
Mhm.
you're accumulating with a saving strategy and you're strict about it. You're
Mhm.
doing it, right? And that your investments are set out properly. So when you do retire, you don't have liquidity issues
Yeah.
where you actually have access to the money. And if you do have access to the money, the IRS is not going to come and get half of it,
Mhm.
right? So that's something that needs to be planned out before, years before, decades before.
Yeah.
And
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 we
that's what I
just
think that we need to be, having a financial advisor and financial professional on your corner is where we make all of these things a lot
Mhm.
simpler.
Yes, absolutely. And I just, want to remind our listeners and viewers that, going back for a part-time job, you want to do that because you want to, not because you have to. And I
Mhm.
think that as a financial advisor like yourself, Jose, and just guiding, you experience all of this. You have knowledge in all of, these strategies that you create and you work with potential risk levels. And there's so much that goes into your financial strategy that a lot of viewers and listeners, you might not realize or you might not think of. And so, there's a lot of aspects that create a retirement plan. And honestly, you work for 40 plus years of your life to enjoy retirement, to not worry about it, to have somebody else in your corner that strategizes for you, that's an expert in the field, because there's a lot to worry about. So enjoy
Mhm.
it, have fun, be able to, enjoy and see that your work has paid off.
Exactly. Exactly. And you have more if you retire early, that you have more time to enjoy the fruits of your labor.
Yes. Yes. And some people, you might be lost without a job. So just figuring
Yeah.
that out with your financial professional is definitely the way to go because every path is different and it's so individualized based on your life, your personality, what you want, what your goals and ambitions are. So discussing it, sitting down with a financial advisor is key to this. So Jose, can you share with our listeners and viewers how they can contact you and Brad?
They can give us a call at 888-390-5277 or thefinancialarmorshow.com.
Perfect. Yes. Cooper Financial Group and Cooper Financial Investments will definitely be there to help you. So, this has been a great show. I think we had a quite fun with it. And Happy New Year, Jose. And I look forward to doing more podcasts with you.
Of course, until New Year and happy New Year's to everyone. And if I didn't get to say it before Christmas, Merry Christmas to everybody, all the listeners, and onto a great year.
Absolutely. Well, that does it for this episode of Financial Armor with our host, Jose Rodriguez.